Welcome to your weekly astrology forecast. My name is Adina. I'm an intuitive astrologer, and in these weekly videos, I go over the astrological energies for the week ahead. And in this week's video, we will be going over the energy for April 22nd to the 28th, 2024. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you align with my energy and enjoy my content. So before we get into the weekly energies, let's touch on some of the energies that we are coming off of. On April 20th, we had the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction come exact. So I did post a video about this. Make sure you go check that out. I get into all 12 rising signs. I get into the chart for the conjunction. But we will be in this energy well into May. So even though we've had this conjunction, it's not over with. We're still in the energies. We're going to have Uranus move to 22 degrees while Jupiter is still at 22 degrees, so they're still very close together. But think about what was building up last week, what kind of came to a head over the weekend, and now it's going to be the aftermath of whatever was kind of triggered and activated with the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. So it's not completely over. We're still in that energy, but what did it bring up for you? Comment below how this Jupiter-Uranus conjunction showed up for you, because I'm really interested to see how this kind of manifested for everyone, because these energies can manifest in so many ways. We are also now in Taurus season. We have the sun enter Taurus April 19th. So happy birthday to all of my Taurian friends. But Taurus is a fixed earth sign. So this is going to shift the energy up a little bit. We still have so much energy in Aries, but now having the sun in Taurus, and we're going to have Venus enter Taurus next week. So we're starting to slowly have all of that Aries energy shift into Taurus. And Taurus is it's more grounded. I look at Aries and Taurus as like the tortoise and the hare. Aries is the hare and Taurus is the tortoise. Slow and steady wins the race. This is now about growing what you initiated during Aries season. And this Aries season was definitely a lot different because we had eclipses, we had the Mercury retrograde in Aries. So it has been hard to kind of move forward and initiate anything during this Aries season. But whatever ideas you had or whatever direction you've been trying to move in, now that energy is going to start to feel a lot easier when it has to do with solidifying the direction that you're moving into, if that makes sense. Taurus is a very grounded energy. It's all about stability, security, safety. Now we still have Venus in Aries, but Venus is going to enter Taurus, which Venus is the ruler of Taurus. Next week, we will actually have Venus and Mars change signs. So that's going to be quite a significant energy, and we'll get into those energies next week. But for a week, we have the sun in Taurus with Venus still in Aries. So when Venus enters Taurus, that's really going to change the energy. So for this week, we really have that motivation, willpower, especially after we have the Mercury station direct, which we're going to get into those energies because Mercury stations on April 25th this week. So once we get to the end of the week, there's going to be a lot more clarity. There's going to be a lot more energy to start moving in the direction that you've kind of been sitting with over the last month or so. Now, this week, we have the full moon in Scorpio at 4 degrees. We have Mercury stationing direct on April 25th. And we have Mars joining up with Neptune on April 27th. So we're going to get into all of those energies. I'm also going to be posting my full moon forecast probably either later today or tomorrow. And this is the first lunation that we're having in Scorpio for about 3.5 years. That's not an eclipse because we had the nodes in Taurus and Scorpio. So the last few lunations in Scorpio were eclipses. So they are very intense, and Scorpio is already this very intense energy. So this is going to be a nice full moon in Scorpio where we can actually enjoy just the regular Scorpio energies and not the super deep, powerful intensity of Scorpio. Because Scorpio is already the most intense sign probably of the zodiac. Now, on Monday, we're going to have the moon in Libra forming a conjunction to the south node. So I usually don't talk about lunar transits, but with the moon connecting to the south node in Libra, this can feel a little bit intense. There can be a lot of emotions or feelings coming back up from the past, from a specific situation or something that you've kind of been moving through with this eclipse energy and Libra energies. With the moon, representing our feelings and emotions and internal self connecting to that self node, there may be this need to feel comfortable. There may be this need to go back to what is known. And so we do want to be mindful of this energy. There could be a lot of emotions coming up, from things from the past. So just something to kind of navigate. It's just to bring awareness to the energy so that if there is anything coming up for you on Monday, it can be that moon conjunction to the south node, bringing emotions back up. Maybe there's something that you're having to move through and heal from around your past that maybe you thought you were done with. Maybe, you thought you healed, you thought you moved on, but there's still something here that you need to address, or there's still something here that you need to move through that's holding you back in some way. And then once we get to Tuesday, we have that moon enter Scorpio and we start to enter the full moon energy. So the full moon in Scorpio, like I said, is our first lunation in Scorpio. That's not an eclipse. So it is going to be nice to not have that intense eclipse energy with the Scorpio energies. Now, I will post a video going into these energies and the charts and all 12 rising signs so that you have that awareness on the areas of life that are being lit up with the Scorpio full moon. But Scorpio is ruled by Mars and Pluto. And we have Mars still in Pisces approaching the conjunction to Neptune. And we have Pluto at 2 degrees of Aquarius forming a T-square to this full moon. So this really does indicate a lot of tensions coming up. Like, this is a huge block, a huge stop, but we want to remember that with squares, T-squares, oppositions, whenever we have some challenging aspects or transits, this brings in room for growth. This brings in opportunities for growth. So keep that in mind. Yes, it can be difficult at first when we first kind of come head to head with whatever it is that we're having to move through. But if we move through these energies consciously and we have that self-awareness and are able to kind of see what's coming up and move through that with the awareness, we really do grow on such a deep level, emotionally, spiritually, and even physically. So I'm bringing that up because I think this week, especially with this full moon, can be a little bit intense. And I think that this is definitely bringing in some opportunity for amazing transformation. We want to remember that Scorpio is the sign of transformation, death and rebirth, and so is Pluto. So there may be something here that you're really there may be some life changes that are needing to be made in order to step into this new journey, step into this new direction, into this new you. We've really been in these energies with all this Aries energy of working on the self and healing, especially with the solar eclipse conjunct Chiron. There's been quite a lot triggered. There's been quite a lot activated. And now is the time for the transformation to take place. If you've done the work, I think this transformation is going to come a lot easier. But if you haven't, there may be something kind of coming to a head, almost forcing you to make some changes so that you can step into this new journey. Now, Scorpio can also rule relationships and finances. So that can also be energies that we are moving through with this full moon in Scorpio. Scorpio is also it's a very methodical energy. So it can also, and I even got this too, it can also be very obsessive. So we have to be careful of where we are directing our attention, because we want to remember that our thoughts create our reality. And so whatever we're putting energy into, whatever we are thinking about, especially with a Scorpio moon, we can be really bringing that into our life. So this is a time to be intentional, to have that mindfulness, to really pay attention to how you're feeling emotionally. Scorpio is also a very emotional energy, very psychic, very powerful. It's very magnetic as well. And that's why usually during a Scorpio moon, we really are drawing those energies in. Wherever we're directing our attention, wherever we are thinking about, we can be bringing that in tenfold into our reality and experience. So I just really want to drive that home, that during a Scorpio moon, we have to be, very intentional, have that self-awareness, write our affirmations, make sure we're grounding, make sure, you're really taking care of your physical body as well and your mind, because what you're thinking about, you really can be bringing in to your experience. Now on Thursday, April 25th, we're going to have Mercury station direct. So what have you been moving through since March 18th, 2024? This is when Mercury entered pre-shadow and Mercury formed a conjunction to the North Node. So there's something that you've been dealing with, moving through, sitting with, reevaluating in your life. Now, I did post a video about the Mercury retrograde, so you can go check that out if you want more clarity, or not clarity, but just a better understanding of how this Mercury retrograde is showing up for you. But this is where we start to gain the clarity. This is where we start to gain the understanding of everything that we've been moving through over the last month. During the pre-shadow period is when things start to kind of come up, giving us an idea of what the retrograde energies are going to bring. Then during the retrograde period is when we're reevaluating things. We are, kind of sitting with some energies, contemplating a different direction or contemplating changes in our life in a certain area. And then when Mercury stations direct, which is going to be on top of that North Node has been at 15 degrees for a very long time. So if you have any personal planets or points at 15 degrees of Aries, you've really been going through it, not necessarily in a bad way, but you've been making some significant personal changes in your life. And with this Mercury station on the North Node, there's definitely something coming in this week, bringing clarity, bringing a better understanding of this new direction that is very fated and very karmic, because it is that North Node. And also the North Node was at 15 degrees at the time of the solar eclipse. So we've really been in these energies for quite some time, and there's been a lot going on in this area of our life. So with this Mercury station, I'm really excited about it. I think we're going to get a lot of clarity. We're going to get a better understanding. Now, collectively, we could hear some information. There could be something on the news. There could be definitely a lot coming out this week about things that we've seen over the last month. So we want to kind of have our awareness and discernment and all of that. Now, having Mars still in Pisces, moving closer to that conjunction to Neptune at this time, when Mercury stations, Mars is going to be at 26 degrees of Pisces, and Neptune is at 28 degrees. So that conjunction doesn't come exact until the 27th of April. But having Mars in Pisces at the same time of this conjunction, dispositing all of this Mercury energy with the Mercury conjunction to the North Node and the Mercury station, where yes, we're gaining clarity. Yes, we're getting a better understanding of what needs to be done in the direction that we're moving in, and there's starting to be resolutions to what we have moved through since March 18th. It really depends, because with this Mars in Pisces energy, there can be still a little bit of confusion, not a lot of clarity. So stem nostalgia energy. Did I say that right? But it's also, again, bringing in this amazing opportunity for growth and transformation when it has to do with those karmic endings, ending karmic cycles, which I've been touching on for the last at least a month, but we're still in that energy. And now is when we can gain clarity on and really kind of let it go. So again, we want to have that self-awareness. That really is just key to figuring out how this is showing up for you, what is showing up for you. Again, having Mars and Pisces can make the energies very emotional, very intuitive, very spiritual, but also bringing in this ability to do amazing transformation and those karmic cycles and step into this new journey. Next week, like I mentioned, we have Venus and Mars entering their home signs. Venus is going to enter Taurus, Mars is going to enter Aries, and that is when it is go time. Mars does very well in Aries. We're going to have that motivation, willpower, and drive to start really moving forward in this new direction. We're just in this last week of wrapping things up, gaining clarity, gaining a better understanding. And when we have the Mars-Neptune conjunction on the 27th, I think that this can really bring in the ability to take action in a new way. And it really depends on, Neptune energy, and this is why we really need the awareness and mindfulness, because Neptune energy can be difficult, right? It makes things confusing. We can be dealing with escapism. We can be dealing with not being able to have that discernment. So we want to be able to utilize the Mars-Neptune conjunction in a constructive way, where maybe we can bring in more creative ways to take action. Or I hope this is making sense. I'm trying to put words to what I'm what I'm kind of getting intuitively. But the Mars-Neptune conjunction can be, I'm sure it's going to be difficult for some, and for some, I'm sure it's going to be very creative and very imaginative and very romantic, really being able to kind of move in a new direction in a completely new way, right? But for some people, we can be dealing with escapism, we could be dealing with addiction, we could be dealing with all of those types of things. So having, especially on the 27th of April, having that self-awareness, making sure that you are mindful of your thoughts, making sure that you're not escaping, making sure you're not just taking the easy road, or you know what I mean? Like, it can be difficult. It can be a mixed bag. But when we have the awareness, we can definitely use the energies consciously and effectively. So I hope that this helps you move through the energies for the week ahead. I can't talk. I wonder if it has to do with the Mercury retrograde. It probably does. Mercury's my chart ruler, so I'm just not able to speak today and get my thoughts out. So thank you for listening and joining me, and yes, thank you so much for joining me, and I will connect with you all in the next one.